Well, good afternoon. This is Mary Beth Harrison with the Dallas Native Team, and welcome to our Facebook Live. Today, we're talking about so you want to buy a house or so you want to sell your house. So, we're going to kind of talk about that. I get asked a million questions on what's the steps. What do we do now that we've decided we want to buy a house? What do we do? What's our next step? And so I want to I'll talk about buyers first today, and then we'll cover sellers on what's that next step. And as always, if you have any questions, go to the chat box as opposed to the Q&A. Just go to the chat box and write in your questions. And Candace is watching over that while we talk about how to buy a house. So, all right, first things first. Are you renting right now? What are your reasons for wanting to buy? Do you own a home and it's not meeting your needs anymore? Kind of what stage in life are you? And do you even know where you want to be? You don't have to. That's not important. That's not the important factor of where do you want to move, because that's what we're here for, is to help you figure that out. So the first thing for a buyer would be to engage a realtor. Find someone whose personality you gel with, because you're going to be together quite a bit and for a pretty good length of time. So find someone that you can work with. Important questions for me would be, how long have you been doing this? Is this your first sale, or is this your, 5 million sales? I've been doing this a really long time. I've helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people buy and sell their home. So for me, I would want someone with experience. I mean, I always laughingly say, do you want to go to the brain surgeon that's done five, brain surgeries, or do you want to do the one that's done 500 brain surgeries? I kind of want to go to the guy that's done it a few times and kind of has some, knows the ins and outs and what can go wrong and whatever. I always say to my buyers, there is no stupid question. That's first of all. There just is no stupid question when you're making one of the biggest investments you're ever going to make in your life. But my job for you is, with all of my experiences, to anticipate what questions you should be asking and answer them before you even know to ask them. That's really the important thing. I mean, I hate being put in a position where I would have asked the question if I had known to ask it. And it's too late now because I already own the computer that I can't upgrade, or the refrigerator that doesn't do what I thought it should do, or the car. I mean, whatever. This is not a small purchase. And so oftentimes when you guys are looking at all the pretties in a house, the granite and the colors and, the tile in the bathroom and whatever, I'm looking for, are the cabinets flush against the wall? Are there doors that are out of alignment? Are there foundation issues we should be looking at? Has there that you're maybe not seeing, but I'm seeing? And so I'm looking at it with different eyes, and you want someone that's going to do that for you. So engaging a realtor is the first thing you need to do. Second is, how much can you spend? Not only how much are you qualified for, but what are you comfortable with? So again, for me, I don't really understand what 200, 300,000, 500,000. I don't understand what that is. I mean, I get it's a number and I get it's really big, but what does that equate to? What are my payments going to be? For most people, I think that's really the legitimate question, is, would I be comfortable with that payment? So let's just say I've been paying 2,400 in rent, and I would be comfortable paying 3,000 in rent. So what does that translate into a loan amount? So it's okay to work backwards. It's okay to work forwards. It doesn't matter. It's just what you're comfortable with. Oftentimes what we're qualified for is a whole lot more than what we're comfortable paying for. So it's important to me is to, what are you comfortable with as monthly payments, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, everything. All in, what would my payments be? So then we need to engage a mortgage company. And the reason I say to go to the realtor first is because they have lenders that they work with seamlessly. We have lenders we've been working with. I mean, you all have seen them online with me here, that we've been working with for years. And it makes for a seamless transaction. And believe me, there's enough going on in a transaction that we don't need a lender to be causing us undue stress and whatever. So find a realtor, ask the questions. Do they know the area? That's something else that's important to me. I mean, I'm born and raised here in Dallas, and so there's not much of this city I don't know, but it is very unusual to have one agent be able to take you, say, from East Dallas and uptown all the way to Frisco, Plano, McKinney, Salina, whatever. It's very unusual to find one person to be able to do that. Thankfully, I know this city really, really well. And so I can take you from Rockwall to Arlington to Little Elm to downtown, or an Oak Cliff. It's kind of my stomping ground. So all over the place like that, then maybe we need to engage a couple of realtors. Maybe we need to get someone to do your north and someone to handle the south. If in fact you've got um, that much flexibility, I guess is the right word. But usually, once I sit down with you as a buyer, I ask the question, what's important to you? What's an acceptable drive time? Whether it's to work, whether it's to your things you enjoy, your recreation, your nightlife. What's important to you, and what's an acceptable drive time? So if you're in and out of the airport all the time, then maybe we need to be more on the west, north, or west side of town, as opposed to putting you way over in Rockwall and have you drive all the way to DFW. And that's a really long haul. And you may be okay with that. You may be okay with an hour drive. And that's great, if you are. But you just need to understand that that will be your drive both ways, going to and from an airport, say from Rockwall. And so it's
Or
things,
longer.
yeah, or longer, exactly. Since Candace lives out there, she can tell you for sure what that drive is. And that's if there's not a wreck on 30. But all that being said, so once you establish who your realtor is, and you establish what your buying power is, so you've got your realtor, you've got your lender, and now we need to figure out where's the best place for you to live. You may already have some great ideas. I mean, you may already love East Dallas, for example. You may already love uh, Fairview. You may already love Allen, whatever, South Lake, and that's great. In which case, let's keep you there. That's great. But a lot of people don't don't have an idea or don't know enough about our neighborhoods. And what I have great joy in doing is introducing you to neighborhoods that you may have never even known existed. They're just little pockets of Dallas that are just so special. And I say Dallas, I use that broadly. I'm speaking of the whole DFW. They're just, neighborhoods that are really special. Another thing that will determine where we look is because what your price point is. If you're at 300,000, for example, there's going to be certain areas that are going to have a $300,000 house. If you're 500, it's going to open up a lot more areas for you. So price will determine a lot of where can we find that house at that price. So different ways to go about looking, or figuring out where you want to live. If you already know the area and you've already lived in the Dallas area, it's a little bit easier for you to know, oh, we've always wanted to live there. We've always wanted to live up there. Now that we're all commuting less and working from home, or it's changed a lot of the ways that we live in our homes now, and it's also changed our ability to live further away from, say, our home office, from because we don't have to go into the office that often. Maybe we only go in once a week now. Maybe you only go in once a month, or never. It's so a lot of different factors come into it. So as far as steps are concerned, find a realtor, mortgage, determine what area you want to live in, what your price point is, and therefore what areas you want to start looking in. And then just that. I mean, I think it would be good for you as a buyer to go drive those areas and see them at different times over the weekend. Are people out in their yards? Are kids out playing? What's going on in the neighborhood? Talk to neighbors. They'll talk to you. They're thrilled to share their neighborhood. A lot of my buyers do that. They'll go and, see people out walking or walking the dog or whatever, and they'll stop and talk to them. What do you like about the neighborhood? What do you wish was here? What are you glad isn't here? Whatever. Is walkability important to you? Because there's only a handful of places in Dallas that have really good walkability. What type of housing? Do you want a house? Do you want a townhome, condo? Zero lot line? What do you need? What are your needs? What are your housing needs? And so we start putting all of that together. And once we find the house that you love, put a contract in, negotiate it until we get it to where everybody's happy. And off it goes to the title company, and you start doing inspections and make sure that just because the house looks pretty doesn't mean all the systems and everything else are good. And so we want to make sure that the house is in as good a working order as it can be for you. And off we go to closing. So it's typically, not always, but typically about a 30-day from the time you find your house to the time we close. It can be quicker. There's no doubt we can do that quicker for you. But typically you can figure on about 30 days, 45 days from the time you find your house. We get the inspections, we get the loan, go to closing. That's a pretty good time frame to kind of think about, is about a 30 to 45 days. If for whatever reason you need to be in something quicker, we can certainly make that happen. But you're sure going to have to do your homework, and you're going to have to know a little bit better where you want to live. You're going to have to get all of your lender papers and everything to your lender. You're really going to have to get on it and get everything that you need done to get this loan. So that's kind of the overview, more or less, of what it takes to buy a home, what you're looking for. I think one of the more important things is just, what are you comfortable paying? And finding a lender that will talk you through, kind of like your realtor, who's going to talk you through, why put down 20%? Why not put down 10%? What's the difference? Why go an FHA loan versus a conventional loan? What are the benefits of those? The lenders that I work with are really, really good about talking you through all of that, the why, why this loan versus that loan, or why, interest rates are so low right now. Maybe putting your money into investments is a better deal than putting that much money into a down payment. There's all kinds of reasons and thought processes behind the why. And so when you surround yourself, like I always say, surround yourself with really great people, and then rely on them to give you the information that you need. But it's kind of those steps. Also, getting home insurance is a good, huge part of it too. Is the home insurable? That would be an important question.
And it is a hurdle we have come across.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so, it's just kind of, you put the whole package together, and a good realtor should be able to guide you through that transaction, because it is messy. I mean, there's a lot of steps. And so you need someone that's going to tell you, okay, it's time to do this. Okay, it's time to do this. Okay, now it's time to do this. So, I mean, that is really important, that you have a good guide. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and that's what your realtor should be for you. So find someone knowledgeable, find someone that knows the areas that you want to be in. Those are just some of the things.
Speaking of areas, Mary Beth, I think this is something, even whenever I moved here, on the map, Dallas and Fort Worth look relatively close to each other. And it's so funny because people are like, oh, well, you can just go to Fort Worth. Well, depending on where you live, you can't just run to Fort Worth.
Yeah. Being from downtown Dallas to downtown Fort Worth is a good, healthy 45 minutes.
Yes.
On a good day. you know,
Yeah, on a very good day.
on a non-traffic good
Yeah.
day. So yeah, I think what's the old things appear closer to you in your mirror
Yes.
than they, yeah,
It
things are
is
close.
very deceiving when you look at it on a map and you move here because you're like, oh, well, I can get to all these places. Look at all these lakes that I have access to. And then you start getting on the road and realizing it's not as close as it appears.
Yeah,
But
that's really a good point.
yeah, one thing that I've always appreciated living here is as you point out all the time, we don't have mountains,
No,
but
nor beachfront.
nor beachfront. But what we do have is the ability to live in different places all over the city
Mhm.
that you can live a different lifestyle. I mean, you can be 30 minutes from somewhere to another place, and it is a different lifestyle living here versus here.
Yeah.
So, depending on whether you like to be outdoors or whether you like to be close to shopping, whatever that is, it just, Dallas has the ability to afford each one of those options for you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And a lot of our clients are coming from out of state and California. I mean, it's nothing for them to be an hour commute. It is nothing for them.
Mhm.
And that's just a normal day for them is an hour
Mhm.
commute to or from work.
Anywhere.
We don't have to do that here. And that's something that I really try to stress to people. You, we have such wonderful neighborhoods and they're surrounding a lot of our work areas to where you just don't have to do that unless you choose to do that. I mean, being 30 minutes from work is almost too far for me, you know? So it's all in again, what's important, you know, if it's schools, then that may direct you one place faster than another. Um, you know, all things have to kind of come together. It's like sweeping up this big thing, and we're sweeping it into a smaller pile and a smaller pile until we get it where we need to get it. But there definitely are such advantages to living in the Dallas area that you don't have in other cities. That
Mhm.
you know, like I said, the drive time alone to get from one place to another is staggering in some of these
Yes.
cities. And it's not that we don't have traffic. Don't get me wrong. We have our share of traffic, but you just don't necessarily have to live like that. So
Yeah.
it's we have a lot to offer. We are a big, huge geographic area. The
Yes.
Dallas Fort Worth area is it's huge. It is as big as some states. I mean,
Mhm.
seriously, it's we are as big as some states.
I would agree. One thing
Yeah.
that I will say also is once you live here, you learn the through streets very fast. Be like, I'm gonna bail now because I can take all these little side streets to get to where I
Mhm.
need to be, and I don't have to be on the highway fighting, the traffic with everybody else. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that I've appreciated, the difference between living here versus Houston. Where Houston, you don't have any other options. You're on the highway, or that's it.
Yeah.
Those are your options. It's not easy to get from one place to the other with side streets there, as it is here.
Yeah, we're a very gridded city.
Mhm.
We're very well gridded, and so it's not like we're like she said, don't ask me for Mountain View or or beachfront, and we'll get along really well.
Mhm.
But I will say we are an incredible business climate here.
Mhm.
We can be at an airport and be anywhere in the United States in less than 3 hours, and we're the friendliest city you will ever live in. And so there's a lot to be said for living here, and there's a lot of positives. And I think as those are coming in from out of state, especially, realize the advantages of our live, work, love,
Play.
you know, yeah, play exactly, all in one area and make that work.
And there's
So,
always activity going on. I mean,
mhm,
there's always something to do or go see or go tour. I mean, depending on whatever your likes are, from arts to plays to museums. I mean,
sports,
sports. I mean,
yeah,
we've got so much sports going on. Six Flags, Hurricane Harbor. There's just one thing that I really want to go do, and it's an indoor. They have giraffes that you can actually walk in this house and actually feed. And so
giraffes.
giraffes, they have giraffes like walking through this house. So I mean, there are so many crazy things. I mean, desserts, there's food galore. I mean,
Oh,
you could just tour the entire Metroplex just for food.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we are not short of restaurants. I tell
no,
people if you're broke and hungry, This is a sad city to be in, that's for sure. Oh gosh. Let's talk about selling. So I don't see questions yet. So if there are any, let me know. I didn't see any come, but I'm not seeing a whole screen. So let's talk about I want to sell my house. So again, your reason for selling. Are you moving out of state? Are you relocating? Are you downsizing? Are you upsizing? Are you, um, yeah, and the is important, but it's a factor to kind of just take in the whole picture. So again, the first thing you want to do is engage a realtor. And it's the same questions, how long have you been doing this? How many homes have you sold? Do you even know my neighborhood? Do you have you ever been here before? This is just these are some important questions to ask. Now, that doesn't say that a realtor can't do their homework and learn your neighborhood. Of course they can. But wouldn't you rather have someone that already knows it and has again sold more than one house or no houses? This is not for the faint of heart. It is there's a lot involved in getting your home sold. It's not just let me put a sign in the yard and hope to God it sells. I mean, I do that too, but there's another plan.
Fingers
Or
crossed.
that's right. There's another plan around that above and beyond just, gosh, I hope this home sells and I just stuck my sign in the yard and put you in MLS. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes beyond that. So choose your realtor, meet with them, have them look at the house because not all houses are created equal. You can't just walk in and go, well, this neighborhood sells for $100 a square foot, so your home should too. It doesn't work that way. That's not what the appraiser does. That's not what the bank looks at. That's not how we price our houses. It is certainly one way to look at it, but that's not how we price our houses. Maybe your lot's bigger than anyone else's. Maybe when you go into a new construction area, there's lot premiums on certain lots, cul-de-sac, or they're bigger than the other ones, or they back to woods or a creek or whatever. There's different reasons. So maybe all of these lots sold for 75,000, but your lot sold for 125,000 because it had something going for it. So it's the same thing when you have a pre-owned home. You've lived there for 20 years, but your lot is different than across the street. So you can't use the house across the street as your comp. Conversely, you are across the street. You can't use their house as your comp because they backed up to the creek. They had a bigger lot. They had, whatever. So it takes kind of tearing a house apart a little bit and figuring out what your price should be, comparing it to other houses. Have you updated? Have you done any updates? The appraiser says that you should completely remodel your home every 10 years. Wow, that's a staggering thought, isn't it? I don't know who does that, but basically every 10 years, your home's kind of obsolete again. It's the colors aren't the same as they were. The wood is a different color. It was carpet, now it's hardwood floors. Someday it'll go back to be something else. It's just the trends change. So when you are comparing your house that hasn't been touched in 10 years to the one next door that was drop dead to die for up to 2021 standards, it's not apples and apples. You can't look at it that way. You've got to figure out if your home were at 2021 standards, what would it sell for? Okay, there's the price. It's going to take about $20, $30, $50,000 to get your house to that level. Well, there's your price. So we kind of build a case for your price. There are some areas of the city that your land is worth more than your house is. The land value is staggering in some of the areas of our city. So then we go in and go, okay, let's just arguably say that your lot is worth 500,000. Well, is there a $100,000 house sitting here? Well, I'd argue there is. Well, okay, then 600,000 is your price. So again, you kind of build a case to figure out what your price is going to be. So engage a realtor, have a conversation with them, let them come see your house, and together figure out what your price should be. Many times I will tell a seller, if you'll spend 5,000, paint, carpet, whatever, I can get you another 10, 20,000. And so then, yes, it's worth it. Absolutely, it's worth putting that money into it. But there's sometimes a house we just sold, those people had been there for 46 years. The house had the best bones. I mean, it was so solid. It was a great house, great floor plan, but they had not touched it in 40 some odd years. It was original. And so, it's not, the house will sell, and it did. It sold very quickly because someone wanted to put their stamp on it. And so then you just got to figure out, then what's that price? What's the price that someone can come in and do what they want to do with it? So, like I said, there's no one size fits all. There is no one size fits all. And there is no formula of, well, that's not how you figure it out. So you and your realtor, seller and realtor, figure out what your price range is. In this market, I will tell you that if you'll price the house well, don't give it away. I'm not asking you to do that, but price it well, and then let the buyers decide what they want the price to be, whether it's lower or whether it's higher. You'll figure it out pretty quickly. I always say right now, with the market as crazy as it's been, in 15 days, if you don't have an offer, you're priced too high. It'll tell you very quickly that your price is too high. The market will speak loudly to you. Do we have questions on what we're asking now?
Yes, we're getting questions.
Okay.
What are the general cost of purchasing a home?
Good question. It's your lender has their fees, and those are really your fees, are your closing cost. And each lender's a little different. So when you talk to the lender, they should be giving you a good faith estimate. And that is every cost that it's going to take to buy this house. Some of my buyers lately have had to pay title policy, which typically up till now has been a seller cost. But in order to win the contract, they wanted their contract to look more appealing. They offered to pay the title policy. So their closing costs were a little higher than, say, yours might be that you didn't pay title policy for the exact same loan. So, so you have lender costs, you have title fee cost, the cost of the title company, the lawyers, and all those people that have to get their 2 cents worth in. Prepay interest. You'll be paying interest. If you escrow principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is your payment, you'll have your tax escrow set up. You'll pay 1 year's worth of insurance, and then you'll start that escrow. So there is no formula. In other words, I can't tell you, oh, it's 5% of your sales price. There isn't a formula for that. I have a formula for the seller, but I really don't have a formula for the buyer because those costs are so varied. So I don't think I answered your question, but hopefully I answered it well enough that you could get a start.
In addition to the closing cost fees, are there any other additional fees?
Good question. Inspections. You'll be responsible to pay the inspector, which can be anywhere from, I don't know now, 400. It depends on the size of the house, 400 to 600.
And does that include a termite inspection?
Yes. You'll pay, doesn't necessarily include a pool inspection because I have a separate pool inspector and he's about 195, I think. So again, depends on the house, how much is there that needs to be, is there a sewer, septic tank? Is there what other inspectors do we need, I guess is the question.
Got it.
And you'll pay your appraisal fee up front, which can get pretty high now. 500, I've seen 700 because they're putting a rush on them. So I've seen those appraisal fees be pretty doggone high. So you'll pay that to the lender. The inspections, that's really it. The appraisal and the inspection. Down payment. Not down payment. Sorry. Earnest money. Mm-hmm. Earnest money and option money. Yes. And earnest money's somewhere around 1% usually is acceptable. So say a $500,000 house would be a $5,000 earnest money. And again, that's all wiggle room. There's no one size fits all. Again, it's all negotiable, but that's kind of a something to kind of factor in the back of your head.
Yes. Okay. And then I'm trying to look at this. Do you remember the school district website where you can search? Oh, there it is. It's called Great Schools. Somebody was asking about where to search for school districts. So I'm submitting that link in here.
Okay.
That's called greatschools.org is where you could actually search for school districts. Another one, how do I search for safety in an area?
That is, you can go to there's a police report you can go to. I'd have to Google that for you, but there are places you can go to find out the crime rate in a specific area. You can certainly find child.
I
What am
know
I
there's
asking?
Family Watchdog.
Yeah, yeah, but that's for more child safety.
Yeah,
But you can there are places to go to check crime stats for a specific area.
yeah.
Whether it's break-ins, is it just cars? Is it none of it? Is it whatever? Yeah,
Okay.
and that's another just good thing to go drive the neighborhood, drive it at night, drive it on the weekend. Are
Called
people out?
crime mapping.
Crime mapping. There you go.
Yes, got it. Okay, I'm linking that too for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's uh, talk to the neighbors. They will talk. I mean,
Mhm.
neighbors will talk.
Yeah.
They do not hesitate to tell you.
And go in the morning and see what the traffic is like on the street, and then
Mhm.
go right at school when school's getting out to figure out, like, is there a lot of hustle and bustle around? Are the kids moving around? Are there no
Right.
kids moving around?
Yeah.
How's that traffic for you even in the evening whenever you're coming home? That's a good telltale sign. And I believe me, people will talk to you. If there's
Yeah.
gossip, the neighbors will talk.
I always tell my clients when they want to live really far away from where they work, I'm like, okay, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to where you think you want to buy Monday morning, drive into work on a Monday morning, worse if it's raining, drive into work, and then at the end of the day, go to where your work was going to be, and I want you to drive home. And you tell me if you want to live that far away. I make my clients do that a lot. It's like, I hear what you're saying, but I need you to go drive it. And then you tell me that you're okay with that.
Because we don't want you cussing at us under your breath every day that you're driving in and home.
Exactly. Use my name in vain every day.
Seriously.
What other questions do we have?
Is the market still competitive?
Yeah. Yeah, we're still low on inventory. I don't get my August stats. We don't get our statistics until the 11th of the month, and so we're a couple of days away from me seeing what our inventory is right now. But
And
I
that'll
will
be
say,
next week.
right,
So,
it'll be next week. So
yeah, so
yeah, maybe
Wednesday,
yeah,
yeah.
if they get it out on time. They've been late the last couple of months, but so yeah, if we get that, I'll talk about that on our live show next week. But I am starting to see listings come up. I mean, I'm already seeing it. I've got now they're ready. So we typically see that start to pick up pretty much after Labor Day, which of course we're there, and on straight on into December. So yeah, we'll start to see more come on the market.
Yeah, I agree. It was a very interesting summer, which I kind of had a
Mhm.
feeling it was going to be, just
Yeah.
because I think people just wanted to bust out of their homes. But I definitely now I'm already starting to see some feedback with people like, okay,
We're
we're
ready. Yeah,
we're ready
we
now.
got the
Let's,
kids back to school. We're ready. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
So
I agree.
yeah, that's gonna be definitely interesting. I think we're gonna have a very busy fall and winter.
Yeah. I've got a good handful of listings sitting here that are in the next couple of weeks will be going on the market.
Perfect.
So it's
We kind of answered some questions that were already asked in the previous. So
Okay.
We've
So
answered
we've caught
everybody's.
up. All
Yes,
right.
we are all caught up.
All right. Let's go back to a seller. All right. So you want to sell your house. So talk to a realtor, have them come bring the comps, the comparables to you and look at it fairly. First of all, go stand outside the front of your house and look at your house with the eyes of a buyer and walk in through your front door. Things that bugged you for years that you never fixed, do you think they're not going to bug that buyer too? So start walking through the house and see. I think we get what's that the ad that says you've gone nose blind, because you don't
Oh,
smell
yes.
anymore. Yeah, I think we've gone eye blind too because there are things that we just don't even see anymore. They've been there for so long, we just don't see them anymore.
You need to walk
I
around with a mirror and face it outward.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like this is what I'm really seeing.
Exactly. And so, does it need to be painted? Well, you tell me, does it? You know if it does. But gosh, what a shame to have waited to paint and carpet and now you're moving. I have so many of my sellers go, gosh, I wish I'd done that sooner. They're like, yeah, I bet you do. You've got brand new carpet for somebody else. So, and that's your realtor. You want to have a realtor who's going to be honest with you, both as a buyer's agent and as your selling agent. Someone that's going to be honest with you. You don't want a yes person. Oh, that's so pretty. We're so glad you like that house. I mean, ask my past clients how many of them I've gone, you're not buying this house. Nope. Too much wrong with it. There's no way. And so I am brutally honest. I mean, it's probably good news and bad news. I am brutally honest. And I have no problems telling a seller they need to clean up. And here's the thing, you've made the decision to move, so go ahead and pack it up. Get it out of there. If you've got to trash something out, let it be your garage because if you as a buyer can't figure out that's a 2-car garage, I can't help you. So if you need to stack boxes or whatever, start finding a staging place and get that stuff packed up and get it out of there. When you're looking for a house, what do you want to look for? Let's go back to that model home, the new construction model home. Yeah, it looks fabulous. They have every inch of it
Mhm.
staged and done, and it looks fabulous. Can you see yourself living there? Absolutely, you can see yourself living there. So you want your house to do the same. As I tell my sellers all the time, if you'll give me a little model home for this much time, I'll get your home sold.
Mhm.
Um, but look at it through the eyes of a buyer. Would you buy your house? Obviously not. You're selling. So there's the answer to that. So once you determine what your price is going to be, and honestly, if you would just clean it up and give me a just put together home for this much time, I can probably get you 10, 20,000 more dollars.
Mhm.
I mean, people buy what they see. When you go into Pottery Barn or you go into Crate and Barrel or you go into Rooms to Go, for goodness sakes, everything's set up and neatly put together. Who doesn't love that? So as a seller, there you go. There's your
Even
answer.
IKEA
That's
makes rooms with their stuff for
I
you to
see.
try it.
Exactly.
I
They
mean,
let you see what it's going to look like put together.
mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
Nebraska Furniture Mart, all of them do it because they know we're visual people.
absolutely. And so you want to, and I strongly recommend to a seller, strongly recommend that you have your home pre-inspected, meaning pre-listing inspection. Why? Because if you're handy, you can fix it. Once you go under contract, you've got to have, first of all, the buyer's hysterical because, wow, it's got a leak in the faucet or it's got they're hysterical. They expect a perfect house. Well, there is no such thing as a perfect house. So buyers, y'all need to get over that because there is no perfect house. There's no perfect anything. But as a seller, if you know what's wrong, you can go fix it. So, or if once you go under contract, you have to have the plumber, the electrician, I mean, now it's costing you money and you've got a buyer who you've scared off. So we go with the inspection report after they're through and you write repaired, replaced, whatever you want to fix, hand that to the buyer and now they know more about your house than any other house they're going to buy. So I feel very strongly about pre-inspections. And
Mhm.
it's so funny, we inspect our teeth, we inspect our bodies, we inspect our cars, we inspect our air conditioners. We never go back and inspect our house again. Nothing stands still, nothing stays like it was. I've had inspectors come out from under a pier and beam house, and there's been a leak under there for how long? I don't crawl under the house, so I don't know if it's leaking. So, having that home inspection is a really smart thing to do to get ready to sell your home. And then, like I said, clean it up, pack it up, make it look inviting. That's really, I think, the operative word, sellers, is make your home look inviting, so that when you get your offers, they're good offers. And then the buyers, we negotiate that contract. The buyer does their inspections, repairs get negotiated again, and off we go to closing. A lot of sellers right now, I get that you all are like, I would love to move, but where am I going to go? And I get that, guys. I totally understand your concern there. One, I've never left anybody homeless. In my 31 years of doing this, I've never left anyone homeless. I do have this great box that would go under the bridge and be really good, but I don't think we haven't had to use it yet. So if you're the seller and you need some time, then let's get your house under contract and don't close for 60 days, or close in 30 days and rent it back from the buyer. Some of these buyers are renting and they can stay somewhere they are month to month. Or maybe their lease isn't up until December, but they started looking in September. So we close at the end of September or October and lease it back from them until whenever. There's a lot of ways to negotiate. There's a lot of ways, one, for the buyer to look really good to the seller, and two, for the seller to get what they need out of it. So there's creative ways to write a contract, which gets me back to square one. You want a really knowledgeable, good realtor who can think outside the box and make both parties a win-win situation. That's really what it comes down to. Is And if the seller tells everyone up front, we cannot move until November 15th. Okay. So we all go in knowing that from the beginning, right? We don't have surprises. None of us like surprises. Well, unless it's a tiny little box and it's sparkly and cute. But basically, we don't like surprises, and certainly not during a transaction. And so we
Mhm.
spell it out from the beginning, and everyone knows the rules of the road, and then we all can live with that. That's there's ways to work around. I want to sell, but I don't know where I'm going to go. There's that.
So a couple questions we have here. What is the best time of year to sell a house?
No, there is no best time. I always say you want to be on when you're one of few before you're one of many. So we know that the spring selling time cranks up a lot, right? Because school's starting to get out, people want to move at the end of the school year, et cetera, et cetera. So, but you're in competition with a lot of other houses. I mean, look at our supply and demand right now.
Mm.
Our supply is low, the demand is high. What does it do? It drives prices up. So I think if there was a bad time, would be maybe from December 20th till about January 10th, somewhere in there, because people, Christmas and people are traveling and their house is a mess. Although I think your house never looks better than it does at
Yeah.
the holidays. But, it's just,
That
and then
does seem to be a complicated time.
it does. There's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
Yeah.
And so I find if there's ever a slow time of my year, it's about a December 20th till now. Flip side of that is we sell a lot of
We have a
houses
lot of
in
closings.
December, a lot of closings in December. The governors hopefully will sign that bill here in Texas that the minute that you close, you can file homestead. That is in the works right now. But we go with what we only know, and that is you can file homestead living in the home from December 31st to January 1st, and now you can file homestead for the next year. And so a lot of people want that advantage, and so they close towards the end of the year. Um, tax advantages, all kinds of things. So,
I will say one thing that I think has changed the landscape of when is the best time to sell is because people's needs have changed dramatically in the last 2 years. So where people would actually move during a specific time, people are not moving because of a specific time. They're moving because of their specific needs.
then, yeah, an event, a
Mhm.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree
Something
with
has
that.
spurred this to do this
Hmm.
now. It's not been, oh, it's springtime, I need to put the house on the market. It's been,
Right.
I need to make a move because of this happening.
Right. A lot of relocation going
A
on, a
lot.
lot of job changes. My job town. Now my office is legacy and
Mhm.
75. And so it doesn't make sense to live down here when I'm going to have to be up
Mhm.
there. So yeah, a lot of moving around right now.
Yeah.
And our housing needs have changed dramatically. How many of us are working from home now and we'll never go back to an office? I mean, it's allowed employers to recognize how productive their staff has been being at home and coming into the office occasionally instead of daily. It's the lack of being interrupted.
Mhm.
That was really interesting. The woman who said when he made her come back to the office and was all upset because she wasn't getting as much done, and she said, "Do you know how many times I get interrupted when I'm here at the office? When I was at home, nobody interrupted me.
Yeah.
I got twice as much done." You can
Yeah.
relate to that because I'm not sitting next to you at
I
the office
know.
anymore, interrupting you every
I
five
know. I
minutes.
mean, it's like kids are out of the house and I'm here by myself, and it's like, okay, I can like totally just focus and just, other than the phone ringing off the wall yesterday, it was insane. I was like, you were calling me, and then the phone I'd have like two people on hold. I was like, did everybody wake up this morning needing to call me today? So
Yeah. So
other than
yeah,
that,
our housing needs have changed as far as needing offices and needing an outdoor space. Have we all not recognized how much we want
yes,
outdoor space? That's important to us. And so yeah, that's so many different reasons, which makes the time of year an answer to your long answer to a very short question. Is there a good time? No. There, I sell houses 12 months out of the year. Um, do we sell more some months than others? Yeah. August used to be a really quiet month for us because school was starting and last travel and all that. Our August was ridiculous this year and last year. So now August isn't really
yeah,
a
July and
thing.
August, and even
Hmm.
now into September, it's very busy.
Yeah. So yeah, things that used to be, but I think we will continue to see that December 20th to
Yeah.
January 10th-ish, 15th-ish be our one quiet time of the year.
What
So
is the typical length of time that a house would be on the market? What are you seeing as an average?
this has been such a crazy year. Typically, I used to say 30 days, 30 showings. If we don't have an offer, we're priced too high. Now it's really about 15 showings, 15 days.
Mhm.
We priced it. We didn't price it well. And it's
Yeah.
always price. Always,
Mhm.
always price. When someone says it's too green, it's too purple, it's too this, the yard's not big enough, that this isn't, any excuse someone gives, any excuse at the right price. Would it have been too green, too purple, too big, too small, too? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's always price. I don't care if your house is in the middle of Central Expressway. Someone lives in every house on every corner of every busy street in America. So don't tell me they won't sell at the right price.
Yeah. Because somebody already lives there at that very
Mm-hmm.
busy intersection on that very busy
Mm-hmm.
street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how much I know there's excuse me, a huge variation on buying a house, the cost, but what about to sell a house? What's those costs?
That cost is about 8%, 8 to 8.5%. That is title policy, that's commissions, it's a home warranty, it's minimal repairs. About the only thing I don't factor in there is your tax prorations from January 1st to whenever we close. Because one, I don't know what your tax amount is. The title company gets that from the taxing authority, but I also don't know when we're going to close. So you'll be giving the buyer your pro rata share of taxes from January 1st through, let's say we close May 1st. So through the end of April, you'll be giving them what, 4 months worth of taxes. But if we close, say, in October, then you're going to be giving them January through October. You're almost giving them a full year's worth of taxes at that point. So your tax liability is way higher than the person who sold earlier in the year, right? And buyer, that goes for you too, because you'll be getting a credit for their taxes because you are going to be responsible for paying the taxes at the end of the year. We get to a point in about October when the tax bills are out and there's not enough time to get the tax bill to the new lender. And so the title company will make the seller pay the whole year's worth of 2021 taxes. And then the buyer will give the seller credit from October to December. So it just flips a little bit sometimes as we get to the end of the year. But nonetheless, pretty doggone close when I use my 8 to 8.5%. I'm pretty dead on every time.
So should the seller make repairs to the house before putting it on the market?
Absolutely. You should have your heat and air serviced. At a minimum, have your heat and air serviced, because every inspection I get is service the heat and air. Yeah, no, I mean,
have the receipt ready.
Exactly. And if you know that faucet's been leaking, then for goodness sakes, fix it. That's why I go back to having the house pre-inspected. I really feel strongly about that because you have your seller's disclosure, which is all you knew that you're giving the buyer, and you have this inspection report, which is all he knew, or she, the inspector, and on it you have written, I repaired that, I replaced that, whatever it is you did off of that inspection report, we put all that together and we give it to the buyer. And now the buyer knows more about your house than any other house they want to buy. And when they come back and go, well, that fan's squeaky. I didn't know the fan was squeaky. I'm like, whoa, 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 wait. So don't come back to me and start asking for stuff that we already know darn good and well is working or not working or whatever.
One of the things I'm always amazed that I see on that is a drain stopper not found.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? We have to mark that? I mean, there's got to be a drain stopper. It's just probably not visible.
No, it's not there. They're gone. Like some kids pulled it out and it's never come back. Yeah. And it's gone. Yeah. No, really, it's gone.
Yeah. I'm always amazed at seeing that on every inspection, especially if the house is more than 5 years old. It's on every inspection. Drain stopper gone.
Yeah, I think the kids pull it out. So then just shower. Don't take a tub. Just don't pay.
Fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Here's something that we've had a conversation about. Can I take my favorite light fixture, curtain?
Oh, good question. Really good question. Absolutely, you can. And we just need to disclose that. So in the listing, it would say exclude the chandelier, the curtains in the bedroom, or the curtains in the kids' room, or whatever. The rose bush. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it was grandma's and we planted it and I want it to go with me. But you have got to disclose all of that because all of those things stay. At the beginning of your contract and the beginning of your listing agreement, there is a huge paragraph of everything that stays with the house. And so you can take your TV, but the mount has to stay. Well, and really, do you want to take it and have to patch the wall? I mean, really? No, you don't want to do that. So yes, you absolutely. But here's my other suggestion. If you want to take that chandelier, then get it out of there right now and replace it with something from Home Depot instead of having to replace it with like kind.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to accept a Home Depot whatever when you had a grandmother chandelier up there.
Yeah. And they already
So,
fell in love with that.
and that fabulous mirror. Oh, the fabulous mirror in the powder room that just made that room fabulous.
Mhm.
But it comes off the wall like a picture, right?
Yeah.
Like a painting. And so is it going to stay or is it going to go? The buyers need to know that. Go somewhere and buy another mirror and get that one off the wall. So my theory is stop the conversation. Just stop the conversation. That pot rack that makes the kitchen to die for, is it going to stay or is it going to go? The buyers need to know that.
Yeah.
And so does your agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's something I see all, especially curtain rods.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we gotten a call going, we're here and the curtains are gone because
Mm-hmm.
that was the agreed upon thing and they took off the
Yeah. The
curtains.
curtains, the rods, all that stuff stays. All
Yes.
of that stuff stays.
Yeah.
But when the curtains match the bedspread, match the dog bed, match the couch,
I know.
come on, you pretty much know that they're going to go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd.
Yeah.
So, okay. That's all the questions we have.
That's all our questions.
Yep, that is all our
Okay.
questions.
I think I got through the sellers. I think I kind of bumbled through that because
You
we
did.
got off on different topics. But bottom line is, whether you're a buyer or a seller, find a realtor that you like their personality, that you feel like you can work with them because you are going to be working with them for a period of time. And honesty is huge to me. I mean, I may not like what you just said to me, but I needed to hear it. And that's what you need in this partner and partners. I can't sell your house without you doing your part of cleaning it up, keeping it clean, have it ready to show, all of those things, right? It's a partnership. And I bring knowledge and direction and my expertise to the table, but I need you to do your part too. And so that's kind of how I look at it. But at the end of the day, it should be an enjoyable experience. I mean, it's stressful. Moving is stressful. I mean, I'm sorry, it is. Although I love it. I love moving. I move a lot. And so I love moving because on one day, everything's clean and put away like you want it to
Mhm.
be and exactly like you want. So I think people ought to move about every 5 to 7 years and clean their house up.
I totally
But
agree.
that's just me. I don't,
Yeah.
you'll quit keeping stuff. I will tell you that if you move a lot, you will quit keeping stuff that
Hmm.
you don't need anymore. But really, you just have to go through and clean it up and box it up. Like I said, you've made the decision to move.
Yeah.
Covers it. I think we're at the end of our time too,
We
so
are.
we
We are
need
at the
to.
end of our time here.
Yeah, so thank you so much for listening. If we can help you, you can always find us at info@dallasnative.com if you want to email us. You can always go to our website, which is chock full of information at dallasnative.com, and find out things about schools, about recreation, about what to do around Dallas. It is absolutely full of information about Dallas. One other thing that I thought about as I was just closing this out is your realtor also should be your best resource for heat and air people, electricians. That person should be a wealth of information for you that you don't have to go recreate a wheel. They should already have created it for you so that they walk in with a full package of here's who to call. You need a mover? Here, call this person. I mean, I give out names daily for any number of things. Again, being born and raised in this city, I've used these people for years, and so
Mhm.
I know them. They know me, and they're fabulous to our clients. And so those relationships are really invaluable when it comes down to it. When at the end of the day, those are really invaluable relationships. So, thank you so much for listening, and if we can be of any help to you, give us a call.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.